Today we're going to talk about range of motion in the shoulders and the beginning processes. So when we think range of motion, the simplest way that I look at it as is I just want to see your range of motion as you lift your arm, right? So as an example, I was talking to someone that likes to surf, right? And he raised his arm, and right away I saw what was occurring. So when I look at that, yeah, sure, I look at the shoulder joint itself, but I also want to know what's the ribs doing? What are the obliques doing? What's the trunk doing when they elevate their arm? So as I saw that, right away, what I look at is I want to manipulate the abdominal wall in the essence of fascia. So what we'll do is we'll start, I put that ball right in the abdominal wall, so I'm below the ribs and above the hip, and I'm off to the side. So, you know, the layer upon layer of the abdominal wall, but I'm also kind of touching the internal obliques. And I'll stay there for 30 seconds or so. So I'm just gonna stay with the same side. So now, first rib, sorry, excuse me, a 12th rib is a loose rib, right? So it's only connected to one side. So I'll be cautious. I like a 6-inch basketball that's relatively soft, not too soft. I mean, there's a little bit of firmness to it, but it allows me to get into the intercostals of the ribs. And I'll kind of stay there, and I will kind of move around. So 3 to 5 minutes when you're working a region of the body when it comes to fascial work. I'm not a foam roller guy per se. I think the foam roller is too broad of a brush. You know, I like lacrosse balls. I do like, you know, the small basketball. I do like softballs and golf balls. That's kind of what I use. But I also use a theracane, which I'll get into on my next video when I talk about the supraspinatus. So I'm kind of in the lats. I'm in the armpit. I'm going to work my way all the way up to my elbow. Right, so obviously as I do both sides. And then what I want you to do, I'm going to give you one exercise to continue that mobility work. So the fascia of the sideline from the hip to the elbow is relatively open, we'll say, okay? Beginning processes. So from here, I'm on top of my sit bone, my feet are Dorsi-flex, my knees are locked, my quads are fired, I'm pulling my abdominal wall, my TA, pull the belly button. Arms are up, I pinch my shoulder blades, and I'm gonna laterally bend, and as that arm comes up, right, I am loaded. You know, we'll say 80%. So 80% of the weight I'm holding in my trunk as 20% in my hand, and now I'm gonna laterally bend to the opposite side. Laterally bend. And the rate of speed isn't important. It's just creating that action side to side. So now what's happening is we're starting to loosen up the vertebra one at a time, right? So you can just kind of see it opening. Right? So it'll look like this. Right? And as we go side to side, we're starting to get into the obliques, lats, serratus, all the way up into the armpit. I can start to feel it in my triceps. And I'm just going to start to loosen up side to side. 3 sets of 10. You know, and think about this as a process. We start to break down the fascia, and then we create dynamic range of motion, right, with proper joint angle. So with that being said, if you think about the pelvic bone is in a neutral position. And now I'm moving off of that neutral proper position. So that will start to loosen up the QL, right? And you can get deeper and deeper and deeper into the abdominal wall. So I'm gonna leave it at that for today, and I will talk to you soon.